What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the 1 year later review of the good old Suzuki. Roll the music.
Those are nice pants. Nice pants. Nice pants. Those are nice pants.
Alright, so this little review isn't going to be too much of, information as far as like what I think about this bike, because I mean I really have no complaints about it. It's been 1 year, I've done some modifications here and there, which we'll get to in a few minutes here. But for the most part, man, I am absolutely still in love with this bike from front to back, top to bottom. I really only have like a couple little nitpicks here and there, but other than that, man, if you're looking into getting a bike like this or getting this specific bike, man, it is something that I would indefinitely recommend. So a year ago when I got this bike, I did a first ride review video, which I'll link to in the description if you haven't seen it already. That video is more of like a first impressions video. You know, I bought the bike from a dealership that's about 2 hours away from where I live, and you know, I got a good, pretty comprehensive impression on what this bike was going to be like, you know, within the first ride on the way home. So if you're interested in the actual first ride video, check out the link in the description, bring you right to it. However, this video is 1 year later, what I think about this bike after owning it for 12 months. So what are my thoughts about this bike 1 year later? Well, like I said, I'm still absolutely in love with it. It's got so many things going for it. You know, it's a comfortable bike. You want a bike where you can take on long rides? Boom, here you go. You want a bike where, you know, it's a naked style, but it's still got the power? Obviously, here you go. You know, it's got fabulous horsepower, it's got tremendous torque. So there's really only two things that I could think of that I'm not really a huge fan about this bike. And one of them is kind of more about naked bikes, and that's that there's no windscreen to protect your head and neck region from, you know, the drag that you're going to get from doing 70 miles an hour. That's just something that you're going to get used to. It doesn't really bother me, but you know, it is considered like a negative feature about this bike, or about all naked bikes for that matter. So what's the other negative thing that I have to say about this bike? All you have to do is look up a forum about this bike, or just do about 30 seconds of research, and you'll see the very first thing that you'll find is that this throttle is a little snatchy on and off. And I have to agree with it. But it's just something, again, that you're gonna have to get acclimated to, that you're gonna have to get used to and deal with. You know, I guess if you wanted to, you could mess around with the TPS. I mean, my perspective is, if you're gonna buy a 1000cc bike, you're obviously not a new rider. So you know how to maintain and control your throttle. So yes, it can get a little annoying, but it's not a deal breaker for me. Not that big of a deal. All you have to do is gently roll on the throttle. Those are my only two negatives I have to say about this bike, and they're really not even big deals, you know. Alright, so along with the actual bike itself, I'd also like to show you what I've done to the bike so far. 1 year later, what are the modifications that I have done to the bike? And it's nothing really huge, you know. I didn't put like a turbo kit or nitrous or whatever fucking crazy things that you kids are doing nowadays. Alright, so what have we done to this bike so far? Well, first and foremost, I mean, with any bike, what you have to do is eliminate that god-awful fender that comes with the stock bike. So here's a little tail tidy in the back here. Also, if you haven't noticed, we have some LED indicators with the load resistor so they don't get the nice hyper flash, you know. And the proper way to get a nice little fender eliminator kit back here is that little LED light that lights up your license plate. Keep it nice and legal, you know, so no cops bother you over some dumb shit. But matching LED indicators in the front, nice and bright at the nighttime. So if you've been paying attention to my channel recently, you've noticed that I've had some exhaust changes from stock to the Two Brothers slip-on to now what I've done. The most noticeable thing about this bike is the full M4 exhaust, right? So if you've missed the previous videos about the exhaust, here's a picture of the stock exhaust, what the bike came with that god-awful catalytic converter on there. And here is what I would call the midpoint, which is the Two Brothers slip-on. Still the stock header, stock mid-pipe, stock catalytic converter with just Two Brothers slip-on can. And now, of course, the full M4 exhaust, obviously without the catalytic converter. So I did a video with the sound of what this M4 exhaust sounds like with a microphone hooked up to the camera so you can get the actual sound. Also, I'll link to that in the description so you can get a good sound of it, but just for shits and gigs, I'll start this puppy up right now and let you listen to it. Yeah, sounds good. So that's really all I've done to it. I'm a simple guy. I don't like anything too flashy, you know. I think the only thing that I have to do to it now is just get some sliders for it, which, truth be known, you know, it should have been like the first thing that I did to it, but realistically, the first thing is always the fender eliminator kit. But I also did the LED indicators at the same time, and then I just went ahead and did the full exhaust. So obviously I've got the power commander installed in there, so it does have a full retune, remap on it, so it's running good. You know, I don't do like the underbody neon kit. I don't like to rice out my vehicles, you know. I like to keep it nice and simple. As far as the M4 exhaust goes, I wanted something that didn't sound ricey or cheap. I wanted something nice, deep, and throaty, which is exactly what the M4 delivers. So if you are looking for an exhaust for your bike and you're not quite sure, you know, what M4 represents, dude, I would highly recommend M4 to anybody. It can make any bike sound good, I guarantee it. Oh, and I actually did think of one more thing that I'm not too excited about. But again, this is just personal preference. This isn't, you know, a fault that I find with the bike. But the bike comes with a size 190 rear tire. And that is a fat tire. It goes without saying because this is a 1000cc bike, but even if it had a 180 on there, it would lean over a little bit easier than the 190 does. Not saying that this thing does not corner well by any means, but you kind of got to fight for it because of the size of the back tire. Oh yeah, and also one of the first things that I had to do to this was get the shorty levers too, so forgot about that when I did my little stop. And that's really what I think of this bike after 12 months. I mean, it's a great bike. It is awesome if you want to hit the twisties or go on long rides. It is comfortable for both. You've got the power, you've got the torque, and you've got the nimbleness of it. I don't know if that's a word, but Chase on two wheels uses nimbility, so that's what I'm gonna use. The ABS, the traction control, everything does its job splendidly. If you actually caught my first ride video on this bike, or if you've been on my channel long enough, you'll know that I had a 600 bike before this. So a year later, the transition was nice and smooth. You know, I'm on like my 10th season of riding, so like I said in my first ride video, it was an appropriate move from a 600 class up to a leader bike, and I couldn't be happier with my decision. If you're looking for a naked style bike for a great price, great performance, great all-around everything, man, I would highly recommend this bike. 1 year later, and I am just as in love with it. So again, if you have any questions or comments, please don't be shy. Let me know in the comment section below if there's any questions I can answer for you, whether it be, you know, how is the bike itself, or if you have more questions about the transition from a 600 class to a 1000. Don't be shy, we're all family here. But as a reminder, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel for a new video every Monday. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching. I am John.com, and I will see you next Monday. Later.